$50,000? This could provide Temple of Praise Ministries the seed money, the financial leverage to finally launch Temple of Praise Ministries Community InReach program. Hello, famous Amos judges. Greetings from St. Louis, Missouri. My name is Mia Curry, the founder, executive director, volunteer, and servant of Temple of Praise Ministries. Originally, in 2012, Temple of Praise was organized for religious purposes to launch Talk with Tam live radio broadcast, which is now crossed over to the YouTube platform. You can subscribe to Do You Want to Talk with Tam? Do You Want to Talk with Tam? But on August the 8th, 2015, the purpose changed. My daughter Jasmine Curry was murdered by a hit-and-run driver in North St. Louis. And to this date, her case remains cold. And to this date, the police, the investigators, have yet even tried to reach out to us. Us? Well, mainly her son, Xavier, who was 2 years old at the time and now 8 years old, making A's in reading and science. So I asked God, what am I to do? What am I to do? In 2015, my mother passed, and my grandmother passed. I was in a car accident, and then Jasmine was murdered. What was I to do? Because I was not going to become bitter. So I asked him, to show me. And he said, it's an advantage in this disadvantage. And he said, empowerment. Empowerment for me, empowerment for Xavier, and then empowerment for the people. Therefore, our mission became empowering individuals and communities, which therefore caused us to amend our purpose, our organizational purposes, to include religious, educational, and charitable needs of North St. Louisans. Our first event was Empowerment Day. It was the fourth Saturday in August 2018. It's an annual event that we designate 3 hours to highlight our programs and our partnerships with our empowerment partners. And then in our first year, we held a panel discussion, from a crime problem to a crime crisis, which we demonstrated how the crime problem evolved from an isolated community into a citywide crime crisis. We researched local crime and health data. We used interdepartmental, the annual reports, crime studies conducted by prominent universities, and using what I developed as the I AM model to identify, assemble, and merge, we successfully conveyed our findings to the panelists, which was that the model identified that the origin and the trajectory of crimes were isolated to one community, which is North St. Louis. 2, the model identified that the public health issue of violent behavior was not recognized as a fundamental crime prevention treatment. And number 3, the model identified that the crime has driven community-based providers outside the perimeter of the neighborhoods, which has caused North St. Louisans to be in the most underserved populace overall in the city of St. Louis. It is no coincidence that the model also identified North St. Louis as the community with the most dilapidated neighborhoods. We were able to then assemble to the panelists that how the failure of the city of St. Louis, I'm sorry, I told them, how the failure of the city of St. Louis to implement crime prevention programs in the neighborhoods intended most suspect of crimes is the reason why the crime problem isolated in North St. Louis evolved into a citywide crime crisis. After that conversation, they were willing to listen to our merge. Sustainable solutions. And then we introduced community InReach, the concept of reaching in before reaching out. Community InReach is an innovation of outreach. InReach is a triplex programming concept of overlapping crime prevention, community wellness, and neighborhood sustainability activities. As it relates to crime prevention, we have published Plan D, which teaches individuals how to disengage, digress, determine your options, decide what you're going to do before you demonstrate anything. We have launched that on Amazon, but we are currently revisiting it to make it quiz compatible. Our strategy, not only to collect data, but so that people can work on it independently. Community wellness. My mobile wellness is actually an educational purpose. It is designed to mobilize various community-based providers within the perimeters of the neighborhood. We're going to have during school hours, the adult services can come in. Then after school, we'll have the youth. And on the weekends, we plan to have elected officials to provide voters education under my mobile wellness. Now, AdoptABlock, neighborhood sustainability, that was the triplex. And that program is called AdoptABlock. This is the program we believe where $50,000 can provide this organization to be on track for program sustainability. But before I explain this program, it is important to understand, for the judges to understand, that Top Ministries' primary activity, what we selected as our NTEE code in reference to the IRS, is J20, which relates to job skill training activities, which brings us to AdoptABlock. AdoptABlock is a community shareholders program which Work Practicum cooperates as a program activity. Therefore, the income earned is tax deductible. Because according to the IRS, earned income substantially related to program activities or tax exempt. So with $50,000, our first goal is to actively pursue the purchase of a new food truck, that has all the bells and whistles, the warranties and the assurances. The food truck would on certain days operate as a Meals on Wheels, pairing up with senior independent living centers and partnerships with existing after-school programs. On other days, it would operate as a for-fee service weekly, and we can do catered events and things like that. But this is also, a food truck is an opportunity, a year-round fundraising opportunity to partner with corporations, organizations, community groups, and do lunch specials. And finally, we do have a long-range plan just in the scope of the food truck. We believe a food truck will not only provide us with program sustainability, but position us with the collateral for our future goals to franchise, utilizing the same concept of program participants versus employees. So our second goal, with revenues earned from this food truck, within the first year, we are going to save, and I said 10%, so that we can build a fund to have matching funds to fund our smaller seasonal projects, which may require us to be funded for $10,000, but with the food truck, we can have $5,000 as matching funds. And those seasonal projects will be like grass cutting, snow removal. But in this scope, just to give you an idea how we're going to be doing using refuse trucks. We're going to do some trash removal. Yes. So it is our InReach concept to reach in before reaching out, to demonstrate the ability for individuals of high-risk communities, how they can sustain itself if they are empowered, not only with resources and services, but incentives to become a productive citizens. What do you mean by incentives? Well, when we want to partner with the city, if we can prove that this food truck works and it trains and then we can work a partnership with the city to say, well, let's give these people an incentive. Let's give them some debt relief on delinquent fees. But we need to demonstrate how this concept of InReach works. And we can with your support. So before closing, I should give you some quick highlights about the leadership of Temple of Praise Ministry. As an executive director, I was recognized as Shiro of the Week in the St. Louis American, an African-American newspaper here in St. Louis for it was about really the panel discussion, and at that time we did a town hall meeting empowering North St. Louisans, empowering North St. Louis by empowering North St. Louisans. I was also recognized by the 100 General Assembly in the state of Missouri by resolution for the organization's efforts in bringing awareness to the needs of empowering disadvantaged communities. Internationally, we submitted a proposal to present Community InReach, the whole program, at the Black Community Conference. And we were awarded the chance to be presenters. And again, these were our infant years. We pressed through our toddler years of COVID by taking several nonprofit and crime prevention webinars, keeping up on Zoom sessions. We published during our toddler years Plan D and wrote the top ministry executive curriculum. We are ready to go to the next level. We hope that you will consider Temple of Praise Ministries for the $50,000 award. And if not, we still thank you for the opportunity to present to you our organization. Thank you and be blessed.